From the land of ketchup and pastry, this is the Soul Podcast. I'm King Sejong, reminding you that if a seat is empty on a crowded subway, proceed with caution. And here are your hosts, Emma Kalka and Joe McPherson.
And welcome to the Soul Podcast. This is Joe.
And this is Emma and Pippin again.
Okay. So I'll be Joe and Appa. Okay.
There you go. Joe and Appa, Emma and Pippin.
All right.
One of these days I'm going to have to bring up the other dog.
Okay. Bring that one out. Thank you for joining us today. This will be our last show before Halloween, I think. Oh, no, we might have one more.
No, we can fit in one more.
I think we'll talk a little bit about what to do for Halloween. What are we doing? What is there to do for Halloween? Here I am. That's something we should have researched before we did the show. What is there to do before Halloween?
Well, no one is really advertising anything for Halloween.
Yeah, I know. Come on, Miss Editor of Groove magazine.
No, there are no big parties happening. So GSM is not doing their big annual Halloween party. Mm-hmm. I haven't really seen. I've seen smaller things. So the Studio HBC is going to be showing Rocky Horror Picture Show,
which I'm going to.
Yeah, they're doing that Thursday and Saturday.
Thursday night, Saturday afternoon, which is going to be weird.
I think that's because they want to do kind of a more normal bar party Saturday night.
There's another thing going on Saturday night. That's why.
Yeah, there's something else going on Saturday night.
It's still weird.
But there's no Rocky Horror Shadowcast going on this year.
No.
I think a lot of places are a little bit hesitant to advertise parties because the government has they said today that they're going to be announcing terms or rules for Halloween next week.
They're going to do one strike rules. If you're violating any of the protocols, they're closing you down.
Mm-hmm. So, but I think that mostly just affects clubs.
Nordebands, clubs, things like that.
Yeah, which apparently, it's pretty strict. I was talking to some friends on Wednesday night, and they said that they were over at Jack's Bar in Itaewon.
Yeah.
And they're very strict on, the no dancing thing. So they were coming out of the bathroom to go back to their table, and were kind of, jokingly dancing around together. And a worker came up to them and was like, "No dancing, you have to leave," and kicked them out.
Really? Wow. Was one of them Kevin Bacon?
Yeah, they weren't actually dancing. They were just kind of bopping along to go back to their table together, and they were like, "No dancing, you're out." So
wow.
Places are taking it very seriously. Some of the gay bar / clubs over in Itaewon have reopened.
Yeah.
But they have to follow the rules where they're open for 2 hours and they have to close for 2 hours to disinfect, and then they can open for another 2 hours. So that's fun. But they've actually been sticking to it. So
okay.
Halloween I feel in the normal big Halloween hotspots, the main street of Itaewon and even maybe in Hongdae and Gangnam, it's going to be very, very different.
It's already decked out. I was just in Itaewon yesterday for some TV interview on TBS. And I saw the decorations out.
Mm-hmm.
And that area behind Hamilton Hotel, which is famous, was made famous now by it's the opening scene of Itaewon Class, the first episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I was there. I didn't know they were filming a show at the time. I didn't see myself in the background, but I was there. I remember some of the people they were in there and they were in there in that shot. Yeah, I was there for someone's party.
Yeah, I feel they're probably. I'm not sure. Part of me thinks it's not going to be as big and as crowded as it usually is. but another part of me would not be surprised if it is. I think I went over, I did Halloween on the main street of Itaewon once for like a couple hours. And then I'm like, I'm out.
It's not
I'm
fun.
out.
It's not fun. And I was just there because I was there for something else. I wasn't there for the Halloween.
Yeah, like I saw enough pictures from friends who were over there of like the crowded back street behind Hamilton. And I'm like,
not in the crowds. Yeah. Crowds are not fun.
Last year, I was just in my neighborhood. Yeah. And so I feel like for me, Halloween is not going to be any different than that because it's just going to be me and my friends kind of bouncing around all the different bars over in our neighborhood.
That'd be fun. I'm not a herd animal, so I don't deal with crowds very easily.
Yeah, like I prefer that anyway. And some people are like, oh, but I put so much work into my costume. I want a lot of people to see it. And I'm like, anybody that I want to see my costume is going to be at all the same places that I'm going to. But I don't I'm pretty sure no Halloween is ever going to top last year's Halloween.
That was pretty heavy. And then lots of people, the most common thing is like you see the zombie makeup. Everyone's doing professional zombie makeup.
No, last Halloween, I hung out with Jack Gleason.
Oh, okay.
King Joffrey. I hung out with King Joffrey last Halloween.
Oh, that's amazing. He's doing
that's
a lot of charity work, isn't he?
I'm pretty sure no Halloween is ever going to top that.
That won't be topped, and that's hilarious because I was Sam Tarley basically last year.
I know. You should have come over to my neighborhood. That would have been hilarious.
That would have been, God, if I knew.
It was like a very random thing. He and his friends were traveling around Asia and they happened to be in Korea. And I guess the way they ended up where I met them, they had asked around where they were staying because the Rugby World Cup was going on at the time. And they were like, hey, where's the best place to watch sports in Korea? Is there like a sports bar? And they had suggested Philly's.
Yeah.
And so I was it was a Thursday night. I was back, this is back when I was freelancing. So I had no work on Friday and I was actually helping decorate Philly's Underground for their Halloween party on Saturday.
Yeah.
So I was already on my way over there to drop off a bunch of stuff and to work on decorations just a bit. When my Game of Thrones group chat, because we still had our group chat going after the series had ended, lit up, and like a friend of mine was at Philly's and they're like, oh my God, guys, you're never gonna believe who's here right now. And
that's crazy.
It's just like at Philly's, Jack Gleason's at Philly's. And I'm like, I am literally walking there right now to drop shit off. Like, what? But I did like the cool. So, like, I walked in, I was like, oh, there he is, and then continued to go, like, downstairs. I was like, I'm not going to be one of them.
That's so freaky.
But it was great. Like, nobody bugged him. Like, nobody was asking him for photos or anything.
It's funny seeing people out in the wild like that and just like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then, like, later on that night, I ended up going down to Rabbit Hole, and he and his friends had gone to Rabbit Hole. And there weren't that many people in there. So me and the friends that I was with at the time, we ended up chatting with them. And then I got so drunk that night. But yeah, no, we just ended up hanging out and drinking with them. And we're like, are you going to come back?
Nothing will top
that. And they were like, oh yeah, we heard there's a lot of stuff to do here on Halloween. So we're going to come back on Saturday for that. And I'm like, yeah, so it's like I'm helping out with this party over here. There's going to be a live drag show here. And so, yeah, I ended up running into them again at Philly's on Halloween night and drank with them. And then we all went to Rabbit Hole together. It was a crazy night, but it was so much fun. I finally, I got to a point where I was like, can I get a photo?
Did you get a photo?
I did. I got a photo.
Can we put up on the website?
Yeah, I'll put it up. I'll send it to you. So that was really cool. He's really cool, really laid back, really nice.
I mean, that's the reason he quit acting. He's doing charity work.
Yeah, and like it was really like no one brought up Game of Thrones. We're like, we don't want to be that asshole.
Yeah.
But we actually ended up talking about American politics at one point.
Oh no.
But it wasn't like a bad conversation. It was a good one. It was a lot. It was really interesting, and his friends were really cool as well. Like I'm following his friends on Instagram, and they followed me and stuff.
Oh, that's
I haven't really talked to them a lot, but
that's really
still
cool.
every once in a while. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm not sure this. No matter what happens this Halloween, I'm not sure if it's going to top that one.
I'm pretty sure that won't top it. Unless
Henry Cavill randomly shows up. But nobody is traveling right now, so
yeah, they'd have to go through the 2-week quarantine.
Yeah, if I'm going to meet a celebrity this Halloween, it's going to be a Korean celebrity, and I probably won't know that they're a Korean celebrity because I don't watch Korean TV shows.
I'm sure. We wonder if the Itaewon Class cast might hang out there for Halloween.
If they do, I won't recognize them because I haven't actually watched it.
Oh, it's the only Korean drama I've watched all the way through.
I need to. I've heard good things about it.
It's not bad.
Considering while they were filming it, I was constantly running into them filming it because they filmed a lot there's this back street in Gyeonggi-dan where I guess one of the bars in the show was located.
That's the second location for the bar.
There a lot.
Yeah.
The bar's not actually there. That bar doesn't actually exist.
No,
from what I've gathered. But they filmed a lot there, and so I would constantly run into them as I was going to and from work. And I'm just oh, another drama.
Yeah.
Because I used to live in Gangnam way back in the day, so I was kind of used to random film crews.
Always. There was one out here in Pumudong over in Gimpo a couple of weeks ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Why? What special setting do we have here that's worth traveling all the way out here for?
My office was on Teheran Row.
Oh, okay.
And then I lived back behind Sunneung Station.
Mm-hmm.
So for some reason there was always something filming there. So
Sunneung Station, yeah. You're by the I always get the confused. That's Yoksam is where the finance center is, right?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
So just one stop down from that.
Down from that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah. So this Halloween, I feel like a lot of places are just keeping it very low key. I know in my area, in Haebangchon and Gyeonggi-dan, a lot of the bars and stuff are going to have parties. It's not being advertised, but they don't typically advertise their parties.
Yeah, I should promote. We're doing dark side tours. I got a good crowd set up for Saturday. I don't think we have much
for Halloween.
For Friday, yeah.
Wait, hold on. Friday is actually Halloween.
No, Saturday's Halloween.
Saturday's Halloween, right.
And it's a full moon too. Mm-hmm. Full moon Halloween. That's really rare. Blue moon.
I know. So even for me, I don't really have a plan. I'm just I got my costume. Or I will have a costume. I will be in a costume. Which costume it is depends on if stuff that I ordered comes in next week.
We're all recycling. Gian, my daughter, she was recycling her Chada costume from last year.
Yeah, so I'll either be my dress comes in and it'll be all new, or I recycle parts of old costumes to make a new one, or I'm just going to go out, recycle my Maleficent costume. It's pretty impressive. So I think if my dress doesn't come in, I might just recycle that because it makes a statement. And it's been a good 3 or 4 years since I've worn it. I won a costume contest with that. I won a free bottle of vodka with that costume. So
if you're out and people want to meet the fabulous Emma Kalka, where would you be?
Just go to Haebangchon. I will probably be most likely
drunk.
I'm about 9. Well, okay, yeah, that's a given. I will probably be at the drag show at Rabbit Hole that starts around 10.
Mm-hmm.
So I will most likely be there for the drag show. Before that, I'll probably be bouncing around between I might be at Philly's, maybe Pocket, possibly Living Room, but definitely Rabbit Hole for the drag show.
Those are all drinking spaces.
Yeah. So I'm just going to be bouncing around. Just go to Haebangchan and look for either Maleficent, you can't miss me with the horns, or a girl running around with a sword. I'm either going to be Maleficent or Lady of the Lake, depending on how next week turns out. So look for either Maleficent or Lady of the Lake with a giant ass sword. Actually, I have the swords right here. I can show you. Okay,
show us the sword.
It's actually my friend. My friend made this.
Oh wow! Well, there you go.
She moved back. Yeah, when she moved back to America, she's like, "You want it?" Because I kept borrowing it from her for burlesque acts. It's actually the sword of Gryffindor. So like you can't.
It is. Yeah. I can see it. Godric. Oh yeah, Godric Gryffindor.
But I actually used this for a Lady of the Lake burlesque act that I did last year. And, she was moving back. Shout out to Cassie.
Thank you, Cassie.
Toby Desired. Also, Toby Determined. She's a great burlesque artist, great drag king. She's just amazing. Cassie's amazing. When she moved back to the U.S., she's like, I can't take it with me. And she's like, you want it, Em? And I'm like, yes, I need a sword. So...
It's like leaving Korea is kind of like dying. You just can't take it with you.
You can't take it with you. She's like, you want my sword? I'm like, yes. I will take your sword. So I now own the sword of Gryffindor, even though I'm a Hufflepuff.
That's all right.
But that's the sword that I'm going to be carrying around as a Lady of the Lake. If I dress as Lady of the Lake. If it comes through. Like, I got this really, really awesome wig for it. So I'm just going to try and make it happen. So even if the dress doesn't come in, like, I'm probably going to wear this kind of black medieval-ish dress that I have with a black corset and be like, yeah, I'm the Lady of the Lake. I'm having a bad day.
Yeah.
So instead of dressed in white, I'm dressed in black.
There you go.
Mess with me, I will drag you to the depths of the lake with me and kill you.
Hold on, I think that's a different myth right there.
Yeah, I'm combining myths. I'm taking creative license. No, but there have been some Lady of the Lake stories where she would knights would come to try and get Excalibur and she would be like, nope, you're not worthy.
Oh. Bring them down.
Maybe it was a more modern retelling. It could have been a modern retelling. I don't know. Oh,
okay. But do you think the Lady of the Lake got a flu shot?
If she did, she might be dead. But seeing as she's immortal, probably not. That was a transition there. That was a transition.
That was my segue.
Great segue.
Hey, we're going into the news right now.
The news, which is not Halloween.
No, but it's very Halloween-esque.
Yes. It is kind of.
What's going on? What is the number right now?
I think it was, I'm trying to remember, 36.
Oh, I thought it was 13. Really? Now it's up in the 30s?
It was, so the very first article that I edited at work today was 29.
We don't need
But then really very shortly after that, we got news that the number was up to 32.
Oh my gosh.
And then when we did our newscast, it was, here we are, 36. So as of Friday afternoon, 36 people.
Oh my! This made the New York Times too. So what's happening is people are dying from this year's flu shot in Korea. This is scary because obviously now people are going to be skittish about taking the COVID-19 vaccine.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, and then there's a lot of different factors at play with this. So far from what research they've done so far, they've yet to be able to connect any of the deaths to the actual flu shot. But they can't ignore the fact that all of these people, except for I think one, have died within 1 to 2 days of getting a flu shot. I think one of the ones today was they weren't found dead, but they died. They got it like 4 days ago, and then died. Okay. But the autopsy report on the first person who died, which was last Friday, it was a 17-year-old high school kid.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's like, whoa,
and he
my
died.
daughter got her flu shot last week.
Mm-hmm. If she got it last week and she's okay,
fine.
she's good.
But I'm like, oh my God, to hear that after the fact, it's for a parent.
Yeah, it was a 17-year-old high school student who died 2 days after he got the flu shot. But they announced today that the results of his autopsy show that the cause of death was not related to the flu shot. They did not say what the cause of death was. But they said it's not related to the flu shot, but they're continuing on with their investigations. Everybody, all 36 people, or maybe it's more, I haven't checked the latest news, but everybody who's died so far, they're doing autopsies. They're like trying to figure it out. The KDCA has said that they are not going to stop. No, they've changed. It's now it's no longer the KCDC. It's now the KDCA. The Korea Disease. Oh, good Lord. Korea Disease and Center Prevention.
Whatever.
Agency. Whatever it is. Yeah. I know what the acronym is. They've said that they are not stopping their flu shot program. And but the KMA actually made a statement last night saying, hey, we're not saying just like stop it. We're saying halt it for a week until you have like definitive evidence that it is or isn't related to the flu shot. And then, but
because didn't they stop it before because they ran out?
No, they stopped it before because they had that problem with refrigeration.
Oh, the refrigeration issue, yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of the doses in transit, when they were going from wherever they were made to the clinic, some of the trucks were not refrigerated properly. Yeah. And so they stopped it until they could check all the doses and make sure that they were okay.
Yeah.
And then after that, they found that a different portion of the doses had some sort of like white flaky something or another in it.
Oh no.
So they were researching that as well, but they were like, hey, we looked into it. We've looked into all these doses. There's nothing that we found that makes them dangerous. And with like the refrigeration issue, it wasn't that it would make them dangerous. It's just it would make that less effective.
Inert. They'll make them inert. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were like, oh, they're still effective. They weren't unrefrigerated for a long enough period that they are now ineffective.
Yeah.
So that was the issue with that. But now, everybody's like, these people are dying. They're like, oh, it's because of the refrigeration. I'm like, I'm not sure if it would kill them. It just would make it ineffective. So you would still get the flu. But a lot of the people that have died have actually been elderly people. And a good portion of those people had underlying medical issues.
Yeah, the 17-year-old really bums me out.
Yeah, that one, like, I feel like there's got to be more medical issues there. I feel like he could not have been like either if he was like a super healthy teenager, his death is like completely unrelated to the flu shot and it was just an unfortunate coincidence, or I don't know. Because a lot of these people did have some sort of underlying medical issue, and maybe it was just a bad reaction. There's something in the flu shots that is reacting badly to this. But I mean, I don't know. Like they're still researching it, and I mean, I think the KMA probably has a good idea. It might be a good idea to halt flu vaccinations just until they can figure out for sure, are these deaths related in any sort of way to the flu shots?
Yeah.
Or if they're not. I think that will go a long way for peace of mind.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that because we need to find that out.
If anything, for peace of mind. Like, I'm not a scientist.
You are.
But I feel like, no, I'm not. Surprise! I don't have a medical degree. But no, I feel like if they're related, I think it's some sort of link between a common sort of medical issue that all of these people have and something in these flu. But it's really strange because it's all over the nation. It's shots that have vaccines that have been made by different companies.
Yeah.
So it's not all one company. It's different companies, different cities, different batches. So it's very, very random. The only thing that's in common is that most of the people are elderly and or have some sort of underlying medical condition, and they got a flu shot.
And they're getting bad reactions.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what else had a bad reaction? This Ajashi on a bus. I was making you
kind of related, actually. I mean, it's not because of the flu. It's not because of the flu. It's because of a flu.
Yeah. So this was reported a while back. Was guy on a bus, older man on a bus, assaulted bus driver. The bus driver and the passengers were telling the guy to wear a mask because it was the law. Right. You're supposed to wear a mask on the bus.
This was before it was like officially law. It was like some sort of like mandate. Like you have to, like, it was when the government was like, you need to wear masks on the bus, but they didn't actually have punishments for it yet.
Yeah, as a 61-year-old man, he's sentenced
didn't want to wear a mask.
10 months in prison. 10 months in prison for this.
Because the bus driver was like, put on a mask or get off my bus. Oh, that was the punishment. You were not allowed on public transportation if you weren't wearing a mask. Yeah. And so the bus driver was just doing his job saying, hey, sorry, dude, can't get on the bus if you're not wearing a mask.
The guy refused. And so the bus driver calls the police and the guy pulls his hair. Mm-hmm. And makes threatening gestures. Maybe he's just like holding his fist. Why you?
I've seen some of those subway videos. I'm like, I don't want to. I'm kind of scared. If I see an old person,
he also went nuts on the police when they came by. He scratched a police officer, grabbed him by the neck.
Some of these people get really, really violent about being told to wear a mask.
Yeah,
or even just being told to wear it properly. Because like
being told to do anything, you try to get any. I just see over 60 to. No, I shouldn't say that. That's generalizing, but still. Okay, I'll tell you this. In a lot of countries, you go look at the most wanted posters at the post office. And think about that at your local post office. And then recently I was at the post office in my neighborhood. I was looking at the most wanted in Korea. And on that, they have the ages. There's no one under age 50, basically, on the most wanted posters. It just seems like it's reverse of how it is in the West. Is like in the West is like the young people commit the crimes. In Korea, it's the old people commit the crimes.
Like they don't want to be told what to do.
Yeah. Or
no, you can't.
As Michael Hurt famously said a long time ago, Ajashi's ruin everything. It's gotta ruin everything.
I might agree with that just a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I remember not too long ago, there was a huge spat of like all these viral videos of like Ajashi getting super violent on like the subway.
There's the one guy, he had a mental issue going on though, too. The guy with the guy that's wearing the flip flops and the
was that
indoor
the plaid
sandals
guy?
on the indoor slippers on the subway. He was slapping someone with the slipper. Huh?
I don't remember the slippers. I just remember a guy in like a plaid outfit.
I don't remember the plaid outfit.
Maybe we're thinking of two different videos.
Oh my God, I'm reading more about the guy that was. Yeah, this guy was nuts. I mean, he was at the police station. He bit an officer's hand at the police station. And he's had a record of doing stuff like this. Oh my.
I got 10 months.
10 months. Oh, now he's going to be
jail.
a hardened criminal after that.
Oh,
Another one.
But-
Oh, this one says 2 years. Okay, so I read 10 months.
Yeah, actually, the article that I read today said 2 years.
No, 2 years.
But
Only got
it's
2 years in prison over this ambulance scam. This is what gets.
Oh,
me
that
really
one.
upset.
Yeah, maybe I'm confusing the two.
All right, now this guy defies my little stereotype from before, my horrible stereotype I made about older men, because this guy's 31, but you see the picture, he has the body that he has an over 50-year-old body.
So maybe that's the connection. It's Korean men who look like they could be over.
He's got the man boobs going on.
Man boobs don't mean you're going to be a criminal.
There's a great picture of him just shoving reporters out of his way.
I think he's just got anger issues.
He's just a great piece of human being. So what he did is he blocked. He intentionally collided with an ambulance.
Right? Didn't the ambulance cut him off or something? Why did he have? Wait, that's the thing. Why did he butt into the ambulance?
Because then he's going to say, "Oh, well." What he does is he fakes that he gets injured in these accidents. So he does these fake accidents, and it's a pattern he's been doing. He's gotten like $20,000. I think it said. I'm looking at an article, looking again. It was like 20 million won. 20 million won. He'd already scammed off of people from doing this. He's a taxi driver, and this time he went after an ambulance as his victim. Delayed the ambulance by 10 minutes. The patient,
unfortunately, the ambulance had a critical patient, in the back, who died. It was a lung cancer patient, and because he stalled the ambulance so much, they missed that critical window to get the patient into a zero pressure room.
Yeah,
and he died, and he got 2 years.
And then
but I remember
he showed no remorse. That's the other reason he got the 2 years. He's done it repeatedly. He's shown no remorse, as you can see from that picture. The guy is a sociopath.
Yeah, he was just like, F this, whatever.
Whatever. I'm more important than anyone else. I'm a predator. You're all prey.
Yeah. Well, it caused, I remember when it happened, it caused a huge outrage in the media. I remember hearing about this all over the place. And I was just like, how cold-hearted do you have to be to go after a flippin' ambulance?
I mean, he actually planned that. Now, there was an incident a few years ago in Busan where an ambulance tapped someone in the rear bumper, and the guy refused to move unless the ambulance paid him money. And it was for a little boy was in the ambulance, and the mother was just begging the guy to just let them go. They'll take care of it later. Oh my God! Yeah, that was right there too.
I do remember when I first moved to Korea being a little bit shocked because being in traffic and then hearing an ambulance coming and then seeing that no one really moved out of the way.
Oh yeah, that it's changed a lot. They made it illegal to not get out of the way. They made it
illegal, and so now anytime an ambulance comes, but this is something that's happened in the last 13 years. I remember being from the States. It's you hear an ambulance, you immediately pull over to the side of the road or get out of the way in whichever way that you can.
Yeah, and
you let the ambulance through. So I remember being really shocked when I first came here and not really seeing people moved. But it's changed. It's now legal. to block an
Yeah.
ambulance path.
It's a cultural shift. We're moving away from our very cellular. Oh, if it's not within my circle, I shouldn't care about it. I don't care about it. To
Right.
more of a wider community responsibility. So rather
Maybe
than having
eventually we'll
shared
get Good Samaritan
responsibility.
laws.
Yeah.
It'd be nice to have Good Samaritan laws here.
Yeah, even though I hate that. I hate the word Good Samaritan. It's racist.
Yeah. It all comes from that one Bible story.
But it was meant to be racist because it was saying because Samaritans are supposed to be scuzzy, and that was the good one. It's one of the good ones.
Right. So maybe we should just call it the good person law.
Yeah, the good person.
Or the good bystander. The good bystander law. Because there's no bystander laws here either. I think in the States we have something called bystander laws where if you're a bystander to a violent crime and up to a certain extent, if you don't do something, you could be held liable for it.
Yeah, that was the plot of the final episode of Seinfeld.
Oh my God, I can't remember that. I'm not sure if I saw that.
They went to jail because some guy was being robbed and they stood there and laughed at him.
Yeah. So it's like it's up to a certain extent. It's not like, okay, if you're there and you do nothing, but like the guy has a gun, okay, you're gonna go to jail. Like, I think certain standards have to be met. But yeah, definitely standing there and laughing while some guy is getting beaten up or whatever would definitely fall under the parameters. But I feel like some sort of bystander law would definitely go a long way in Korea, and I think it would help.
Get the laws, and then we need to we change the culture.
Right.
I think a friend of mine died of a heart attack on the subway. No one would do anything. I've heard of stories of this a lot. All happen if someone keels over, no one does anything.
Yeah, if somebody's being attacked, no one steps in.
Yeah, but someone has a heart attack, no one does anything to help you. I think it's changing, though. I really think the society is changing. I feel bad because I've been one of those people too, and it's not good. But I've been conditioned here to not get involved because you can get in trouble if you get involved.
Yeah, sometimes getting involved is what lands you in jail. So, like, if you're walking down the street and you see some guy beating up another person, a woman, whatever, what have you, stepping in, could land you in jail.
Yeah, because they could be a couple, and then they will sue you.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then also, like the self-defense laws here are not very good.
No, it's the other extreme. So, it's the opposite of stand your ground laws.
Yeah, basically. So whatever, imagine a stand your ground law and then go in the way opposite side of the opposite direction.
Lose your ground law.
Lose your ground. Right. So it's basically you can only defend yourself to a certain extent.
Yeah, you cannot cause more harm to them than they cause to you.
Right, exactly. So as a woman, so if I'm like walking home one night and a guy attacks me and like grabs me or whatever, and like let's say if I knee him in the groin and he falls down to the ground and then the police show up, I would be the one that might potentially get in more trouble because if I've caused more damage to him by kneeing him in the balls than he did just by like grabbing me from behind or whatever, I'm the one who gets charged, not the guy who was lurking in the shadows waiting to attack me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another one they've been talking about changing. All these laws have been talking about changing, including the next one we're going to talk about. Because, at least it's not as bad as being busted for smoking marijuana.
Which I still think, I read this article and I'm like, A, not surprised. B, why is this should not be.
Why are you not surprised? Why are you not surprised? What part
Dude,
did not surprise you?
because I spent like pretty much all of 2013 interviewing underground rappers.
Oh.
I know what goes down.
Oh. You mean
I mean, they didn't
rappers might
say
do
it.
marijuana?
Yeah, like I mean, they didn't say it on the record, but I was friends with enough. Like I knew.
It's bad
I knew.
enough some of them might fake their college degrees. Now,
Marijuana. Wait, what? Okay,
marijuana.
that is okay. Faking your college degree, that is actually pretty shitty. You shouldn't do that.
Well, no, that one guy, Tableau, was accused of doing that, and
But he didn't.
He didn't, but that's still so freaking silly that you expect a hip hop artist to be a college graduate. I mean, that
Yeah,
they really care about what university your hip hop artist went to.
They were like, "Oh, you're a hip hop artist. There's no way you have a Stanford University
It's the
degree."
opposite. It's the opposite of street cred.
One of my coworkers went to freaking Stanford with him and was like, "This is bullshit."
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Well, coworkers at that time. I was working at Audio on TV at that time, and one of my coworkers graduated from Stanford and was at Stanford at the same time that Tableau was, and he was like, "This is bullshit." I was
so
there.
hard.
I know he went there. I know he graduated.
It's so hard for these middle class Korean rappers to get street cred, man. They just can't do it. I mean, straight out of Gangnam, man.
They got busted for pop, so I guess that gives them some.
It was
street
last
cred.
year. It was Nafla, Loopy, Owen, Blue, and Young West of hip hop label MK.
Make It Rain.
Make It Rain. Oh, Make It Rain.
Make It Rain. It's
You could tell I'm over 40.
No, Owen. Is it? I mean, I'm wondering if it's the same one because I did interview an Owen Overdose. I think it's the same one. I think it's the same Owen, but back then he was going. Do not quote me on this. I'm going to Google this. But I think it might be the same.
Well, unlike ambulance taxi guy, these guys did sincerely. They admitted the wrongdoing and are sincerely regretting.
Yeah, it is Owen. Yeah, that's the one that I interviewed. It's the guy that I interviewed. Okay. Yeah, it's him. So many years ago. I saw that, and there were like 5 rappers from the same label got picked up for smoking pot, and I'm just like.
Oh, they were smoking pot while they were recording, I think.
Yeah, but I'm still just like there are worse things you could do.
That's why I said what I posted on our Facebook page was Korea, the Barney Fifes of
of the world.
Oh yeah, it's just Barney Fifes. It's just like
marijuana is less harmful than drinking alcohol.
You can't. It's no. This is. It has deep roots in Asia. I think we discussed this on our podcast with Jeffrey Kane talking about the Samsung thing. We went a little bit into the history of marijuana. Right, because I mean, I read a few articles and I remember vaguely that it was Park Chung-hee that made it illegal. Yep. But before that, like it was grown to make hemp clothing. I don't think it was heavily used. I don't think so. But yeah. It was. It wasn't like in America during the hippie times when everybody was doing it. It was used by dictator Park Chung-hee in the late 60s, early 70s to get rid of miscreants. He was cleaning out Hongdae. Right, and he was taking a page out of America's book because that was about the same time. Because Nixon was doing the same thing. Yeah, Nixon was doing the same thing at the same time. See, I do know history. And then they had their own drugs. Yeah, well, that started in that was in 90s. Reagan's the war on drugs. Reagan administration's war on drugs. Reagan. I was 80s. And what people thought was a conspiracy turned out to be true, that the CIA was supplying the hood with drugs so they could bust black people and put them in prison. Thought it was a conspiracy theory, then documents came out. It's true. And then it came out, it was true. It was true. I'm just like, well, and again, I'm American, and America is in the process of legalizing it.
It's not legal everywhere, but it's legal or decriminalized in a lot of places now.
We joke about it now, but we're also taking our American perspective, our Western perspective.
True.
You know, that's another mistake we make is like, we think that, okay, now that we changed our laws, we expect the whole world to just catch up.
Everybody else has to do it as well.
It's like, okay, we legalized pot, we legalized same-sex marriage. You know, everyone catch up with us really fast.
No, actually, we weren't the first people who did either one of those things.
We weren't, but when we do it, we expect everyone else to catch up with us.
Everybody else has to. Yeah, no, actually, that's very true. This is very true. Yeah. This is our white American privileged colonization mindset.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I will say, in the context of having lived in Korea for 13 years, I feel like smoking pot is the least of what people could do. Like considering the shit that people blame on alcohol, which actually is no longer you can't use it as a defense in court anymore.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't use it as defense in court anymore. It's funny how
didn't change until like 2012.
Yeah. It was after the that one case we covered it. We covered it on our 6 Crimes episode of Dark Side of Soul podcast. Mm-hmm. We talked about it, but it's funny how Koreans, including my wife, have really freaked out when I said that I smoked some pot in college. Ooh, and I didn't even smoke that. I'm like Clinton. I can't inhale. I can't smoke cigarettes. I can't because I can't inhale smoke.
I remember when I was younger in my uber Christian conservative days, and my mom was like, yeah, I smoked pot in high school. And I was like, oh, but then as I got a little bit older in America, I was like, oh, well, eh.
Yeah. Oh, no, for me, it's like every time I smell pot, I get brought back to my early childhood. Because I remember my parents' friends coming over when I was around 2 or 3 years old, and they're smoking pot. And I just remember that smell was just imprinted on my brain. And they would do this all the time. And then my mom said, okay, we have a problem here. When my grandmother was visiting, and I told my grandmother, hey, look what I can do. And I took some paper and I started rolling it as a joint.
Oh, no.
I'm 3 years old.
Okay, that might be it. That might be a thing.
I was horrible as a baby. I was rolling joints. There's also a story that I think I was around the same age too. I was like 2 or 3 years old, and great parenting. They just stuck me in a crib in my grandparents' place while they were visiting, and I was just alone in this room, bored as hell. And they stacked the beers next to my crib. And they went and checked on me and saw that I had already started opening the beers. And one can was empty, but they couldn't find where I poured the beer.
And so they thought you drank it?
They think I drank the beer.
Did you drink it?
I don't know.
Did you drink the beer? No.
I don't know. They found an empty can and no wet spot.
I'm just like, I'm not going to lie. That's like irresponsible parenting, leaving alcohol within a small child.
I was the first child. My parents had me very young.
Oh, right. Yeah. Right.
And
no, actually.
All their mistakes. They made all their earliest mistakes with me. Anyway, let's wrap up the show. Let's wrap it up. Let's think about
otherwise we're just gonna downfall into
no one's interested in our Alabama and Ozark stories. No one's interested in those
conversations that we should not be having on a recorded podcast.
Right. Well, anyway, if you haven't, just subscribe to the show. Well, you can follow us on Twitter at King Sejong. Facebook at facebook.com/SeoulPodcast. I don't know why I'm doing a Borat accent for doing that.
SeoulPodcast.
Yeah, SeoulPodcast. And
there you go.
Just pointing out, some of us will be out around the Halloween times. I'm definitely doing Rocky Horror at the studio, HBC, on Thursday, maybe Saturday. I'm doing a Dark Side tour on Saturday night. You can go to darksideofsoul.com to get your tickets.
I'm going to try and do it on Thursday, but I'm not sure because Wednesday night I am at the studio. I am hosting a double feature, Hocus Pocus and Halloween.
Okay, so that's on
Wednesday. You can come see me on Wednesday. I'll be hosting that. If I'm not too tired from that and work, I will also be.
I'm going to have no date. I'm going to have no date for Rocky.
Okay, fine. I'll be there.
I'm always
I will be there. I will drag myself. No matter how tired I am, I will. Okay, so Thursday night, you can hang out with me and Joe at Rocky Horror at the studio.
See, was that perfectly passive aggressive for you? That was great.
Yeah, it worked. I'll be there. All
right. Thank you for everyone for putting up with us. Until next time, stay safe.
Bye.
The Soul Podcast is produced by Joe McPherson and is copyrighted 2020 by Zen Kimchi International under the Creative Commons license. Parts of this podcast may be used for non-commercial purposes if you remember to give us credit. You can contact us at sejong@soulpodcast.com. That's SEJONG@soulpodcast.com. For a transcript of this episode, listen to it again and write down what you hear. Please support us at patreon.com/soulpodcast.